right, we're live. Good evening.
Should we be talking?
Awkward silence.
Yeah, we have to rehearse our intro, huh?
I hate an intro because it sounds so scripted. It feels so weird, like you're acting or on TV or something.
No, I don't like any scripts at all.
Well, how was your trip to the Northwoods?
Well, it was great as always, and I mean, it doesn't work with this very well. That's why we had to reschedule this thing because it doesn't work up there. Debbie is looking into I don't know what you would call it. I won't say a booster, but a system that allows me to get a strong internet signal. Not just me, but I mean, she works up there too. But so I think she's looking into that, and she may have found something when we got home today. But so anyway, I apologize. It just didn't work last night. I tried everything. I know that. I mean, it's funny because it worked right away when Jeremy and I were speaking. It all worked, but that wasn't really as bad as the fact that my phone was losing so much power. It was pulling so much power just to be online like this that I had a full charge, and then I was down to 82% in like less than 7 minutes. So the call would have been 15 minutes tops anyway, for me, at least on my end, maximum 15 minutes.
Yeah, it was probably for the best that it started to cut out, because as soon as we got going, we would have had to just postpone any miss. So here we are.
Yeah, and speaking of batteries, I'm on solar and battery. I'm not hooked up to the utility grid, and my batteries died at around 8 o'clock my time, like completely. I just ran the AC too hard all day, and I wasn't keeping track, so I would cut out on you guys anyway.
Well, I'd say cool, but that's the problem.
Right.
By the way, we have a bunch of smoke coming down here from the Minnesota, I think northeastern Minnesota and some of Canada. But I mean, it's funny how much people panic about these fires, other than maybe them being set purposely from some nefarious reasons or purposes. But they're fires. There's a lot of smoke, and so you just deal with it. I don't remember this shit when I was younger, but because there wasn't so many people fighting over control of the planet, I don't think back then, but who knows? So, by the way, I love your elephant picture. I love it. Absolutely love it. We should explain it. I know that we tried before, I think, but the idea is this. When we did that class last month or whatever, and I said I don't like working off of notes because I feel constrained. I feel bound up, and all I could picture was the elephant at the circus with this incredibly powerful animal with this rope around its ankle tied to a stake, and I that's really what happens anyway. The stake in the ground is holding back this elephant, and he doesn't know that he could pull it up anytime he wants, because he's grown up with it around his ankle. So he tugged on it as a little elephant, and he couldn't pull it up. And so all of a sudden, the rest of his life, he's staked to the ground, just like the birth certificated person, staked to infancy without knowing that the infancy doesn't apply to him anymore. But anyway, so I started picturing this or imagining this in my head, that the elephant finally wakes up, and he just goes on a rampage and kills everybody in the circus, wipes out the circus and kills everyone, because he finally wakes up to the truth. And that's how I look at the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room is always the truth. It's always the truth. It doesn't matter if the elephant in the room is some guy with a mohawk walking through the building. That's the elephant in the room. Nobody wants to talk about the mohawk, but everybody's staring at it going, what the fuck? No offense, mohawk people, but I'm just saying that the elephant in the room is always the truth. It's always the truth, in spite of what you're actually looking at. Nobody will talk about it. That's what I feel like is what we're dealing with here. We're dealing with the elephant in the room, which is the truth. And the truth, it obliterates everything, like that elephant that finally wakes up and just destroys the circus. That's what the truth is. The truth is that elephant that wakes up and destroys the circus. That's kind of what I feel like we're trying to do here. But which leads me to one more thing. I think that people struggle with this information. When they first hear it, it gets exciting, and then they go out and tell people about it, and they do what? They get shut down so fast that eventually they stop talking about it. We got an opportunity here, especially with all the work you guys are doing as far as putting together some videos and putting out content as far as Jeremy with you on Substack. I think people should be promoting the hell out of Substack. You know, I don't know how to do it, and I don't like to promote myself because they think it's pretty cheesy, you know. But I think that if people believe in this stuff, they should make sure they get the information out there, because the world needs this stuff.
It definitely is that was the struggle with like something like New World Order with Buzzsprout. Like, unless somebody goes there, it's hard for them to find out about it. Whereas with what we're building with the Substack, if we do get, and right now we've been in that rising chart in the top 20 there a few days. We are doing pretty good for a Substack that's 2 months old. But I think the more we learn and the more everybody else is following learns about it, and the restacking, we're starting to get a handle on those notes. There's a lot of capabilities within it, built within it to promote within. So it's, I think if we can get the support, which we are starting to, it can probably go somewhere.
I think what I want to do real quick, because it's stuck in my brain, is help people through a visual of the biology real quick, sort of a thumbnail, because this is still blowing my mind, you know, after about a week of thinking about it. That whole thing that the president put out, that pardon for people that fix their own cars. The cars, and we spoke about it last Wednesday, I think it might have been, but people need to know that their kingdom begins at fertilization. I'm talking about sovereignty here. Your authority in your life begins at fertilization. That's where it is. That's where it begins. And it keeps going until your last breath. And remind me to explain last breath again, because there's some people out there that don't understand what a last breath is. They think it's the last expired breath. No, it's the last breath. Anyway, so here's how it lays out. Mom and dad lay together, and dad drops off 23 chromosomes in the form of sperm at a job site called womb. Mom brings 23 chromosomes in the form of an ovum to that same job site. Now, at the fertilization process, those 23 chromosomes from dad and those 23 chromosomes from mom, they come together into one di-vine kingdom. Di-to-vine bloodlines. Two bloodlines into one kingdom, which results in a 46 chromosome zygote. There's the father. That's the kingdom. That's the sovereignty. It begins at fertilization. Upon fertilization, mom's ovum still is surrounded by this membrane called the zona pellucida, or the pellucid membrane. That membrane is like the hull of a ship, or I always refer to it as a baby blanket, but it actually envelops your kingdom. That pellucid membrane envelops your kingdom. Now, what's beautiful about all of this is it happens in the water. So the sovereignty, your sovereignty is waterborne. That's B-O-R-N-E. The sovereignty is waterborne. The kingdom is waterborne. That troubles a lot of people. Oh, Kurt, no, I'm a man on the land. Whatever. The point is that the kingdom, your 46 chromosome monozygotic maritime monarchy begins at fertilization in the water. Now, about 7 days after the creation of your kingdom, this vessel lands in the uterine wall. It's floating for the first 7 days or so, but it lands in the uterine wall. It's your landed estate. That's considered the second estate, but it's where your heavenly kingdom comes down to earth and lands on earth. So now heaven and earth are together in the uterine wall. Out of the waters, onto the land. And about 9 months after you land, what happens? By an extension of the umbilical cord, your waters break, not mom's waters. Your waters break because they're inside your kingdom. The wall of your kingdom breaks. The waters of your kingdom come out, and then who comes out? The prince, the king, comes out and does what? He exits the womb. And we see it as a baby attached to an umbilical cord. In fact, if you looked at the front cover of Right of Way, that's the entire kingdom on the front cover of Right of Way. The baby, the umbilical cord, and the fetal-maternal placenta is evidence of the entire kingdom. But what do? They clamp and cut the umbilical cord, and they separate you from your kingdom. They clamp and cut the cord at the hospital, whoever, maybe a midwife does it. It doesn't matter. But when they clamp and cut the cord, I call it mayhem. M-A-Y-H-E-M, mayhem, an act of mayhem. I'm going to go to mayhem real quick because I brought it up. Mayhem at Webster's. So think about this act of violence against a newborn. So you got the baby, the umbilical, and extra embryonic all as one unit, but they do something. They cut it apart. It goes from 1 to 2. So I'm going to mayhem, and it says this. It says at Webster's online, needless or willful damage or violence. Is there any need to cut the umbilical cord? Is there really any need? Does nature do it? Does nature separate a newborn from its remains?
Yeah, nature does it.
Nature does not do it.
Oh, I mean,
nature does not separate that. In nature, it falls off on its own.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
So baby comes out, and if they would have allowed nature to run its course, then the umbilical cord and the extra embryonic, which is the same exact 46 chromosomes as the baby, comes out, and it's still attached to part of mom, the uterine wall. Well, that's the entire delivery. The definition of delivery is a fetus and its membranes. So now the entire kingdom is delivered as one into the present moment, in one place, in space and time. But they don't do that. They, through an act of violence, separate the baby from the residue, and remainder of his kingdom. So the definition of mayhem is needless or willful damage or violence. Number 2 says willful and permanent deprivation of a body part resulting in the impairment of a person's fighting ability. It also says a willful and permanent disabling, mutilation, or disfigurement of any part of the body. That's the cutting of the umbilical cord. Now, the reason I bring this up is because when they clamp and cut the cord, they create 2 positions. The position of the baby and the position of the kingdom. And that's because it's an active iatrogenesis. So I'm going to go to iatrogenesis. It's spelled IATROGENESIS. Iatrogenesis. I'm going to click on that at Webster's, and I'm going to actually let it speak for itself. I want to make sure that you can hear this. Oh, I guess I pronounced it right. So it's iatrogenesis. And here's what iatrogenesis is: the unintentional causation of an unfavorable health condition, such as a disease, injury, infection, or adverse drug reaction during the process of providing medical care, such as surgery, drug treatment, hospitalization, or diagnostic testing. So they created a problem, but nobody sees it as a problem. They go, oh, hey, Dad, do you want to cut the umbilical cord? That's what they asked me to do. And of course, I'm all the proud dad going, yeah, let me in on some of that action. What a mistake.
Right.
Because now the king is separating his own offspring from his own kingdom. So I'm going to go to iatrogenesis at Wiki real quick, because this is important. No, I'm not. I actually am not. I decided to do something different. Let me go to split personality at Wiki. Split personality. Now, here's why I say this. Because the personality is the entirety of your biology from fertilization. That's considered personal or personality. So when they clamp and cut the cord, they separate the baby, the person or personality of the baby, from the personality of the kingdom. It's all 146 chromosome kingdom, but they separate it through an act of mayhem. So I'm going to go to split personality. But when I do that, Wiki redirects me to something called dissociative identity disorder. Listen, look at those words. Dissociative identity disorder. Identity disorder. That's a split personality. Look what it says here. Dissociative identity disorder, DID, previously known as multiple personality disorder, is a dissociative disorder. Now look what it says here. Dissociative disorder, when I just hover over it, it says disorders are a range of mental disorders characterized by significant disruptions or fragmentation in the normal integration of consciousness, memory, identity, emotion, perception, body representation, motor control, and behavior. Everything that's going on in the courtroom is about that other identity. In Black's Law, they call it what is it? What do they call it? A alter ego. I'm going to go to it in a second, but I just want to bring this up because it says, DID, dissociative identity disorder, multiple personality, is a dissociative disorder characterized by the presence of at least two personality states or alters. Two. If I'm all present and accounted for from fertilization and last breath, with my biology and my kingdom intact, continuous and contiguous in time and space, how many of me are there?
One.
Yep, would have been delivered as one. Just like the definition of delivery says, a fetus and its membranes is a delivery. But if they clamp and cut the cord, do they deliver? Are they delivering if they separate a piece off?
No, it's partial.
It's a partial birth abortion is what it is. And I made that clear to President Trump in his first term around March of 2020, right before COVID hit. Anyway, the diagnosis is controversial and remains disputed. Proponents of dissociative identity disorders support the trauma model. I'm going to go to trauma real quick and see what it says. I'm just going to trauma at Webster's. I guess I have to do something different. Trauma. DEF. What does Webster say trauma is? Trauma at Webster's. I'm going over this because it's the most important stuff. When you understand this, every other call makes sense. Everything that we're doing makes sense. And I just feel like people don't get it. It could be me. Trauma, an injury, such as a wound to living tissue caused by an extrinsic agent, a disordered psychic or behavioral state resulting from severe mental or emotional stress or physical injury is the cutting of the cord of physical injury.
Yes.
It's a trauma. Look at down here at number 2 says an agent, force, or mechanism that causes trauma. That's the cut. So I'm going back to dissociative. I'm sorry. I'm going back to iatrogenesis. No, I'm going to dissociative. I'm sorry. Dissociative, because that's what I'm reading. He goes on to say, the diagnosis is controversial and remains disputed. Proponents of DID support the trauma model, viewing the disorder as an organic response to severe childhood trauma. Well, that's the cutting of the cord. Critics of the trauma model support the sociogenic model of DID as a societal construct and learned behavior used to express distress developed through iatrogenesis. In therapy, cultural beliefs and exposure to behavior in media or online. Cultural beliefs. Happy birthday, Ray. Happy birthday, Jeremy. In other words, that Gregorian calendar birthday that gives rise to the secondary infancy that you can find at 1 USC 8. Infancy. Forever. The birth certificate at infancy. Forever. And we keep going back to taking pilgrimage after pilgrimage back there every 365 days to celebrate this ridiculous infancy. But it's all iatrogenic. The medical industry creates the alter ego. It creates it. And we believe it because it's a cultural belief. So I'm going to alter ego. Black's Law. I haven't talked about alter ego in a long time. And once I get done with this, I'll shut the hell up. Then we can talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. But if people don't get this shit, nothing I say matters. If you don't understand this, nothing else matters. Alter ego, page 71 at Black's Law 5th edition. Alter ego, second self. Oh, really? A second self. In the Bible, they call it a second coming. Hell, even the Roman Catholic Church speaks of it as heresy. By 1302, in Unum Sanctum, the second origin, the second arrival is heresy. Second self, under doctrine of alter ego, court merely disregards corporate entity and holds individual responsible for acts knowingly and intentionally done in the name of corporation. What's the corporation, Ray?
The birth certificated legal
No,
fiction.
the fetal-maternal placenta. Why? Because my biology, when it implants into the uterine wall, incorporates itself into mom's biology. That's the incorporation. You weren't wrong. But the actual physical thing that gives rise to the corporation is biological. So you got this fetal-maternal placenta. Feto-maternal, my 46 chromosomes incorporated into mom's 46 chromosomes. It comes out as the placenta. Now you have evidence of an incorporation that gives rise to a title. And that title in my case was Curtis Richard Kallenbach. That's evidence of the second self or the incorporation. It's a corporate entity. It is a corporate entity. How many biologies are in that Curtis Richard Kallenbach?
2.
Right? It's 96 chromosomes. It's a composition of matter. It's composed of my biology and mom's biology. Go to 35 USC 101. 35 USC 101 talks about inventions patentable. So now they're creating a patented situation. And it says right here, whoever invents or discovers any new and useful process, machine, manufacture, or what? Composition of matter. Is it possible to patent nature?
No.
No, but they found a way to do it. They took something, a third party, a third person, human waste, let's call it, the afterbirth, and they patented it. Why? Because it's neither my 46 chromosomes or mom's 46. It's a combination of both into a 92 chromosome monstrosity. So they patent this 92 chromosome thing, this third party, third person, which is also known as a tertium quid. There you go. My point is that everything that's going on in their legal realm is based upon this right here. Why? Because their system uses a word, a very specific word. Their entire legal system, it relies on this one word, this one legal term. Can anybody guess what it is?
Remedy.
Conception. The conception is everything.
Right.
It's an immaculate conception. It's immaculate, perfect conception idea, but it's actually the result of that immaculate conception ultimately comes, you see it physically as the fetal maternal placenta. To be very specific, the ultimate conception is the mom's part of the placenta, but I'm not going to get into that tonight. What I'm getting at is the evidence of that conception. My biology confused with mom's biology. My biology inextricably intertwined with mom's biology. That's the conception. And the legal system requires the word conception. The legal realm needs that corporation because that corporation is a trust. Their entire system requires this. What happens if you get in front of the conception and you start speaking only about your 46 chromosomes, which begins at fertilization? Does that conception exist?
No.
Well, it might exist, but it doesn't have you as collateral damage. And they can't pull you in. If you have identified the limits of your kingdom as your 46 chromosomes and only your 46 chromosomes, can they confuse you with the fetal maternal placental conception?
No.
And if you're using those exact same 46 chromosomes today, are you back there on that, on the mom's maternal biology? Are you still stuck in her matrix?
No, you're not.
No. My point is it's all biology. All these idiots out there that are trying to tell you it's all about paperwork and everything else, it's all biology. And it always will be. Because that's nature. Anyway, so mayhem is an act of violence, but it actually says a willful and permanent deprivation. I'm going to click on that just to see what it says. The state of being kept, deprivation, the state of being kept from possessing, enjoying, or using something, the state of being deprived, privation, especially the removal from an office, dignity, or benefice. You're deprived of your own kingdom. Number 2 says, an act or instance of withholding or taking something away from someone or something, an act or instance of depriving, loss. When they clamp and cut the cord, you're a loser. You're the loser. Just picture me putting an L up on my forehead.
Mm.
My point is, if you don't know this, then you don't understand all present and accounted for from fertilization last breath. Because if you don't know the biology, it makes no difference. It makes no sense. Alter ego. Going back to alter ego real quick. To continue, it says to establish the alter ego doctrine. By the way, what did it say? It said under doctrine of alter ego, the court merely disregards the corporate entity. They disregard the fetal maternal placenta. They disregard the birth certificated person. And what do they do? It says, and holds individual responsible for the acts knowingly and intentionally done in the name of corporation. How many people aren't in there claiming the name or claiming the birth date of that corporation? Everybody does it. So the court disregards the corporation, and it holds you accountable for everything that corporate entity is responsible for. So it goes on to say, to establish the alter ego doctrine, it must be shown that the stockholder, who's holding the stock certificate, who's the holder of the stock certificate?
The person
Whoever
claiming
has the birth certificate. How many people don't, every year, how many people write a note or email or call their state to have a birth certificate sent to them?
everybody.
Everybody. That's the stock certificate. Shown that the stockholder, so whoever's holding that certificate is a stockholder, disregarded the entity of the corporation, made corporation a mere conduit for the transaction of their own private business, and that the separate individualities of the corporation and its stockholder in fact cease to exist. So you merged with the stock. You became the surety by your own admission. It goes on to say the doctrine of alter ego does not create assets for or in corporation. That should tell you a lot right there. Oh, I really want what that corporation's worth. It's not an asset. It says, but it simply fastens liability on the individual who uses the corporation merely as an instrumentality in conducting his own personal business. Now you're talking right there. That corporation is a public piece of land, but you're using it privately. So you're commingling public and private properties. Mom's piece is considered public. Your piece is private. But when you use that character for your own personal benefit, you're commingling public and private. It goes on to say, and that liability springs from fraud. Who's the one that's perpetrating the fraud?
The holder of the stock certificate.
The user of the name. Absolutely. Fraud perpetrated not on the corporation, but on a third person, but on third persons dealing with corporation. Third persons. Who's the third person? There's baby, there's mom. Who's the third person?
The character.
The born alive placenta.
Right.
One more thing, I'm going to Born Alive. Born Alive on page 167, Black's Law 5th edition. Born Alive, being the product of conception. Well, there it is right there. Didn't I say that the entire legal system is founded upon the conception? And if you get in front of the conception all the way back to fertilization, and you're whole, W-H-O-L-E, from fertilization to last breath, then that conception cannot exist separately from you as an alter ego or as a split personality. It can't exist. It says being a product of conception. So Born Alive is a product of conception. After complete expulsion or extraction from mother, irrespective of the duration of the pregnancy, which breathes or shows any other evidence of life, such as beating of the heart, pulsation of the umbilical cord, or definite movement of voluntary muscles, whether or not the umbilical cord has been cut or the placenta is attached. That right there, that's all to confuse people. Because the next line, it says each product of such birth. They're talking only about that which was created through conception. It's a product of conception. So it says each product of such birth. What's the birth? It's implantation. And another word for implantation is conception. Each product of such implantation is considered live born and fully recognized as a human person. There it is right there. So they're not talking about the baby. They're certainly not talking about mom. They're talking about this other thing. This other thing that comes out that's been cut off and separated from baby. They look at it like, what the hell is this big blob of stuff? You got the baby here. You got mom over there. What the hell is this? It's a new third person. And all you have to do is go back to Tertium Quid real quick and go to Christology. I mean, just scroll down to Christology. Look what it says there. Read that to me, Jeremy.
In the Christological debates of the 4th century, it was used to refer to the followers of Apollinaris, who spoke of Christ as something neither human nor divine, but a mixture of the two in a mysterious and inseparable way, and therefore a third thing.
There it is, right there. Their inseparable way. When they call it in the legal system, inextricably intertwined. You cannot separate your biology from mom's. But this third party, third person, this Jesus and Mary biology is part of his story, history, his story, his, not mine, his, third party, third person, him, his. They're looking at it as if it's a long lost brother, a twin that didn't make it. It's always somebody but you, but it's not. It's exactly the same 46 chromosomes as yourself. There is no third party. There is no third person. This is fucking bullshit. And we all eat it up. You can't have your cake and eat it too. The cake, by the way, the word cake is placenta. Anyway, so all of that leads me to one thing. I said that we begin in the water. Fertilization is a water-born event. So the kingdom is born in the water, and then it lands. It comes to earth out of the heavens, out of the waters, and lands on earth in mom's uterine wall. That's the landed estate. Go to Estates of the Realm real quick. I'm going to go there.
Which is the incorporation.
When you land, when heaven and earth come together, when your kingdom comes out of the water and lands on that shoreline, on that beach, on that bank, when your 46 chromosome data lands on that uterine wall bank, it becomes data bank. It's a data bank, which is in the news every day. Database, data bank, whatever. Estates of the Realm, it says the Estates of the Realm, or 3 estates, were the broad orders of social hierarchy used in Christendom, from the Middle Ages to the early modern Europe. Different systems for dividing to conquer, dividing society members into estates developed and evolved over time. The best known system is French, a 3 estate system, which was made up of a first estate clergy. That's the first 7 days. Genesis 2:2, on the 7th day, God comes to rest. So the first 7 days is clergy. It's all about God and creation. The second estate of titled nobles. That's when you land in the uterine wall. And the third estate of all other subjects, both peasants and bourgeoisie, that's the baby cut off from everything outside the womb. So you have these 3 estates, according to them. It's not reality. It's all fiction. But the first estate is while you're still in the water. The second estate is when you land in the uterine wall. And the third estate is when you come out as baby and you're cut off from the first 2, becoming a peasant or the bourgeoisie. So that's their system. By the way, let me ask another question real quick. This is all bullshit. It's all made up. If I'm here from fertilization to this moment, do I not pass through all 3 of their estates?
Yeah, there's no division.
There's no division at all. I am the first estate, I am the second estate, and I am the third estate, but it's all one continuous and contiguous lifetime. It's one continuous and contiguous monozygotic maritime monarchy. My sovereignty is never cut off in reality because I'm still using it. I didn't abandon it back there in the womb or on some island territory somewhere. I didn't abandon it. I'm still using it. I'm using exactly the same 46 chromosomes at this moment, 65 plus years later, as was created the moment of creation at fertilization. I'm using it. I'm still using it. I'm still occupying it, which is what I'm getting to right now. All of this comes down to this. So the first estate, or actually the first 7 days in the womb is waterborne. My kingdom is waterborne. But then my kingdom come to earth and lands in the uterine wall. That's the second estate. But that's landed. That's the landed estate. But that's nobility. That's where they say that's where the nobles are located, in that second estate. And then I come out of her. I come out of mom. I come out of her, like the Bible says. Here's the question. When I'm in the water, I'm in the water. When I land in the uterine wall or on the uterine wall and bury myself over the next 9 months and completely buried under mom's land, the motherland, the promised land, I'm in the land. I'm on the land. So when I come out of the waters and I come out of that land and they clamp and cut the cord and baby's out here, where am I?
You're in the air.
I'm in the air. My physical body, if I get up right now, I can't walk too far because I have a headset on that has a cord. But if I walk 15 feet in any direction, am I walking through the dirt? Am I like a worm going down through the dirt?
No, you're not.
I'm not. Thank you. Thank you for recognizing that, Ray. Am I in the water? Am I moving through the water?
No.
I was in the first estate, the first 7 days. I was in the land. I was in the muck. I was in the swamp for all the rest of the time in the womb. But then I came out of her, and now I'm in the air. And you know what that makes me?
An aircraft.
An aircraft. Oh, Kurt, that's a stretch. No, it isn't. Their entire legal system wants you to never know this. Look what an aircraft says. It is, by definition at Webster's, a vehicle. A vehicle for traveling through the air. Again, when I get up and walk across my basement floor, I'm traveling through the air. I'm not traveling through the water. I'm not traveling through the land. I'm traveling through the air. This biology that I have right now is an aircraft. Not only does it travel through the air, it breathes the air. My point is, it doesn't drive. The definition says a vehicle for traveling through the air. By the way, my biology, the body I have now, this vehicle, this aircraft, it's the only means of transport for my kingdom. When I come out of the water, the only thing that I have to use to travel through the air is this biology. It's my means of transport. Go to CRM 1624 real quick. CRM 1624. This is giant. This is fundamental stuff for me. CRM, I'm going to U.S. Department of Justice, substantive offensive, substance, substantive offenses. Look what it says here. CRM 1624, substantive offenses, assault, 18 U.S.C. 112. 18 U.S.C. 112 prohibits assaults against foreign officials, official guests, and internationally protected persons, and attacks upon the official premises, private accommodations, or what does it say there?
Means of transport?
Means of transport of such persons. Means of transport. This is the only thing that my government, my self-government on my own shoulders, my own mind is right here on top of my shoulders. And the only way it gets anywhere, its only means of transport is this body, this vehicle, this aircraft. And so my foreign government is foreign to all others because it's not your government, Ray. It's not your government, Jeremy. It's mine. It's foreign to all others. My sovereignty and my self-government is foreign to all others. And its only means of transport is this biology. When my kingdom, when the king, when the prince, when the government wants to taste coffee, it sends this vehicle, this aircraft up to the coffee machine. And this vehicle, this body, pours the cup of coffee, carries it down, and basically puts it to its lips. And what happens? I, the king, get to experience the coffee through this vessel. This is mine. These 46 chromosomes, they're unique, and they're only mine, and I'm the owner. Fuck the trust. Fuck everybody's idea of a trust. Fuck you people. Are you fucking kidding me? This is my kingdom. It began at fertilization. It ends with last breath. And this is my means of transport, and I'm protected at CRM 1624 and 18 USC 112. I'm protected, but I have to know this shit.
Fuck you,
Deprivation.
people.
Deprivation. I mean, think about this. They're allowing the confusion of my personal and private monarchy with public property. That's how they get away with this shit. They're allowing for the confusion, because if there's confusion, there's a point of contention. Oh, no, that's mine. No, that's mine. No, that's mine. That's the public property. No, that's my private property. No, that's public property. A point of contention. That's what they're doing. They create a problem that then has to be worked out in some courtroom, when in fact it doesn't exist at all. It doesn't exist at all. So I'm saying that the cutting of the cord is mayhem. The taking away of the property, once it's cut off, is called larceny. I'm going to go to larceny real quick. I'm almost done. Larceny. Definition. I'm just going to Webster's. I got my Black's Law right here, but I'm just going to Webster's to see what larceny says. Larceny. Webster's. The meaning of larceny. Sorry, it's taking a second. Is the unlawful taking of personal property with intent to deprive deprivation of the rightful owner of it permanently. Do you think they're ever planning on giving your biology back?
No.
No, because it's their data bank. They need this for their entire banking system. You're the surety for all the fucking money they're spending. In God we trust. It's larceny when they take it away. The unlawful taking of personal property. Personal property. Your biology, your 46 chromosomes is personality. It's personal. Everything's personal from fertilization to last breath. If they include your biology in any of their claims, it's larceny. And they're doing it in every claim. And finally, it dies. When they clamp and cut the cord, it's now devoid of your breath. It's devoid of spirit, because there's no breath there's no more breath in that cut material ever again. Oh yeah, there's a breath in the baby, but there's no breath in what they have on deposit. It's dead. It's a decedent estate. It's a decedent estate, which evidences the demise of the kingdom. We don't know where the king is, and look at this. All we have is this dead material here. Well, let's just hold it and see if somebody comes back. Never happened. So now they have the entire property, the property of that kingdom. They hold it in trust. Think of it as a lost and found. But they're holding it in trust until the true owner comes back, which he never does. So now they have all of your property that you ever do anything with, intellectual property, genetics, every single thing you ever do in your life is now subject to some administrator somewhere, or a regency somewhere. But it's not true, because you're still occupying the kingdom. You're still occupying that biology. You're still occupying it. But the property they have on deposit is dead. It dies. It's spiritually bankrupt. Let me say that again. It's spiritually bankrupt. What they have on deposit has no God, no spirit. It's godless. It's an empty house of God. God doesn't exist on that island. God does not exist in that biology that's left behind. There is no God. It's godless. Think about that. So all birth certificated persons are godless. All of them. So all you fucking Christians out there that they keep claiming birthdays and all that shit, you're godless. It's that simple. Biologically, you're godless. So keep claiming a birthday. And finally, what I just described is genocide. I'm going to genocide. Genocide definition, and tell me that this doesn't fit perfectly with the whole birth certificated character. Genocide. I'm just going to Wikipedia. Let's see what it says there. Actually, I can go to Webster's too. Let me go to Webster's. Genocide. Genocide is the partial. Look what it says here, right at Wikipedia. Genocide is the partial or total destruction of a human group committed intentionally. Iatrogenesis. The medical industry is killing off humanity so it can give rise to this birth certificated bullshit. It says the popular view conceives. Is that a conception?
Yeah.
The popular view conceives of genocide as the large-scale killing of individuals, but in scholarly and legal fields, genocide occurs when the group itself is targeted. Of course, humanity is the group. Acts of genocide include killing as well as non-lethal acts such as preventing reproduction among the group, the forcible transfer of children to another group, and cultural genocide. Let me see. There's down. If I go down far enough, I think they have. There it is. Go down all the way to Genocide Convention. Scroll down to Genocide Convention. Right there. 2 years after passing a resolution affirming the criminalization of genocide, the United Nations General Assembly adopted the Genocide Convention on 9 December 1948. Perfect timing, by the way, for Israel, the creation of Israel. Perfect timing for everything. Remember, Harry S. Truman was in office in 1948. A lot of shit went down in 1948. It came into effect on 12 January 1951 after 20 countries ratified it without reservations. The convention defines genocide as the following. Look at this. Any of the following acts committed with intent to destroy, in whole or in part, Remember, the clamping and cutting of the umbilical cord creates a particular end, an end separated from the whole, which is by definition a war. But look what it says. In whole or in part, a national, ethnical, racial, or religious group. Intend to destroy a nation or a national, ethnical, racial, or religious groups as such, killing members of the group. Remember, killing members of the group. Is that 1 USC 8? Infant member?
Yeah.
What about B? Causing serious bodily or mental harm to members of the group. There's the word member again, which is an organ, which is the umbilical, which is the placenta. Deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part. D, imposing measures. Are the measures the cut? Is it a quantity?
Yeah.
Hell, the UN even uses the word measure. Imposing measures intended to prevent births within the group. If all humanity dies because of the cut, did they not prevent the birth?
Yeah.
Don't get screwed up with the word birth. And look at E, forcibly transferring children of the group to another group. It's genocide when they clamp and cut the cord and let a piece of you die. It's genocide. So the clamping, the cutting of the cord is mayhem. The taking away the biology of the material is larceny. And the letting it die is genocide. It's that simple. And nobody's doing anything about it except us. We're the only ones in the world talking like this. So I don't give a shit about, don't get me wrong here, about fluoride in the water. It's horrifying. Or chemtrails, unbelievably destructive to humanity. But that's not the worst thing. Understand that everything that's happening to all of us can only happen because nobody's here to stop it. All of humanity's dead. It's been killed off through acts of genocide, through the birth certificate. There's nobody here to stop it. This is one giant corporate machine. The entire world is a giant corporate machine with machine parts, tools, Tools. They're just tools. There's no living being left. Everybody's been killed off. So there's nobody here with a voice to stop it. All right. That's it. That's all I got. The storm ends as fast as it begins.
I'm trying to hold that rope, but there's no use.
I guess the ultimate thing is understand that your body is an aircraft. It moves, it travels through the air. And if your body's traveling through the air with your foreign government on the shoulders, it's traveling. It doesn't say it's driving through the air. Does your body need a license?
No, you can walk wherever the hell you want to walk.
You can get in your truck and go anywhere you want.
Mm.
My government sitting behind the steering wheel of my truck. Diplomatic immunity. It's a foreign government. It's a foreign government. So if I'm sitting behind the wheel of my truck in this body, this aircraft, and I'm traveling through the air down the highway in my truck, it says a vehicle for traveling through the air. Is it traveling through the water?
No.
Is it traveling through the land?
No.
No. It's traveling through the air. If I got on a boat, which I'll get on a boat next week up north, if I'm traveling across the water on a boat, am I traveling in the water or am I traveling in the air?
In the air.
I'm in the air.
If you're a submarine, you'd be in the water.
No, I wouldn't be, Ray. I'd still be inside where the air is dry. I'm not in the water. Even in a submarine, I'm not in the water. The submarine's in the water. I'm in the air.
Yeah.
If I walk across the entire length of the submarine while it's underwater, am I traveling through the air or am I traveling through the water?
Through the air.
I'm always traveling through the air. Well, Kurt, what about swimming? You know what? That's what I run into. Nobody can think clear enough. They're always looking for the pessimistic. They're saying, oh, that ain't fucking true. All right. Then stay where you're at. God damn. There's a PMA member, and I'm not going to say who he is, and I'm not going to even say what he did, but I am going to say the results. He took these ideas with his own brain, with his own critical thinking skills, and he just got last year's, we'll call them taxes, back with interest. He's in the PMA. He got all of last year's taxes back with interest by knowing this. That should be enough for people, shouldn't it?
It's very interesting to think about too, because a lot of people that are attempting to learn, they get hung up on the owning your property, owning your data, and that's a perfect example of he's still, we didn't create this system. He has to go out in that system and operate, and he's
Well, no, be careful. He doesn't operate.
Sorry.
Living people don't operate. That's one of those words that they get us to use, so they capture us through that language.
Sounds
he's just
surgical.
he's out there doing what he's doing. He knows he's a fucking monarch.
Right.
But he's doing everything he can.
Right.
With his unbelievable skill set. But he's sitting down and going, okay, here's what I know. How do I apply this? Whose responsibility, by the way, is his life?
His own.
Not mine. I can't do anything for him. I don't even know the circumstances or whatever that he's involved in. He has to do it. This is another big thing for me. It's your kingdom. Do something. There needs to be more than a couple people in the world that are speaking up. I was talking to him today, and I was laughing, saying that at some point, when I disappear completely, everybody will wonder what happened, where I went. And I'm never going to say anything after that. All the breadcrumbs, all the information that I'm using right now will always be available. Whether people apply it or not doesn't matter. I can't do anything for anybody. But he's handling it just fine. But by the way, if your motive is to try to undo all that or figure that stuff out, he told me, don't tell anybody what I'm doing. Because what'll happen is if that's your only incentive to learn this shit, that's not good enough. You're not even concerned with truth anymore when you're just trying to get out of paying, we'll call them taxes.
Mm-hmm.
He applied it. He knows what he's doing. He's figuring out on his own. He's taking this information and applying it to his kingdom. He never asked me for anything. He never asked me for any additional information. He's just thinking. That's all he's doing. He's just thinking about his life, his kingdom. This isn't right. This shouldn't apply to me. And he's figuring out what to do. By the way, my hat's off to everybody doing anything, making an attempt at anything, doing anything. I love some of the stuff people are doing. I don't know how it's going to work out, but it's not my job to tell another monarch how to do what he's doing or her. Figure it out. Try some things. Just don't be stupid. By the way, if you're out there causing trouble, that's not good either. You shouldn't be. It's funny. We were driving back from up north today, and all this kind of crap goes through my head all the time, and I'm thinking, being the tallest nail. Oh, Kurt, you really shouldn't be the tallest nail. I know what that means, because the tallest nail gets hammered first. But what's really weird about that statement is I realize now that when somebody uses that statement, the presumption is that you're a nail.
Yeah.
That's the presumption. Well, you don't want to be the tallest nail. Who says I'm a nail? Because the nail is subject to the jurisdiction of the hammer.
Mm-hmm.
Who says I'm a nail? If I'm a monarch, am I a nail? I mean, who am I subject to if I'm a monarch? If my monarchy begins the moment of creation, that's a big one, by the way. That's a huge one. Who's between you and creation? Tell me a man on earth that stands between you and the moment of creation, between the creation of your kingdom, not existing and then existing. Tell me what man on earth, anywhere, at any point, stands between your kingdom and creation of it.
No middleman.
There isn't any. Never has been. So why are you begging for permission to do anything? Ultimately, it's because you haven't found your way through all this mess. And I say through, not necessarily out. I said through. By the way, one last thing, and again, I've been talking almost nonstop now for whatever, an hour. Look at this. Think about how horrible it is. But either one of you guys answer this. By the way, I have not looked at StreamYard at all since we began, so hopefully you're keeping up.
We're doing
Look
pretty
at,
good.
thank you. Look at how weird this is. So I want to travel from the North Pole to the South Pole. Well, obviously the shortest distance between those two poles would be a straight line. So rather than circumnavigate the globe, I decide to start digging. I want to get there. I want to get to the South Pole. Or maybe I want to get to the North Pole, whatever way you have to see it. So I start digging down. Ray, what's the deepest point of my dig?
Right before you break through.
Thank you. Most people go, well, I mean, at the center. No, at the center. That's my deepest dig down. Because the moment I pass the center, I am now digging out. So the deepest dig down or in to the problem only gets to the center. But once you pass the center, you're digging out towards the surface, the other side. The problem is you don't know that. You don't know that you're now digging out. So you'll quit. Most people quit. They quit digging. They quit looking. They quit. They lose some incentive, whatever. So in other words, right before you break out the other side at the South Pole, that's the absolute deepest. That's the furthest you dig. It's the entire diameter of the Earth. But you're digging out the moment you pass the center. You just never know it. So that's why this stuff is so hard. Because right before you break through and understand this stuff, you quit. That's what everybody does. The attrition rate, people that have hung around me for years, Linda's one of the few people that have been here for a number of years. Everybody else quits. They quit because they're not getting what they want. They're not getting out of paying taxes. They're still subject to speeding tickets and all that shit. That's not my problem. I mean, I just had a conversation with a guy today. They got all his income, or I won't call it income, all his money back with interest. I didn't show him how to do that. Hell, I don't even know how to do that. Why do I care? I don't have a job. But if I had one, I'd have him show me exactly what he did. But, you know, he told me what he did. Whether I agree with it or not, it doesn't matter. But it can't be your motive. Your motive has to be standing in the light of truth, because it's the truth that actually makes you free. And he's doing that exactly too. He doesn't. The fact that he's working so hard at all of these things that are coming at him, he's dealing with it pretty amazingly. I mean, I think that it's amazing what he's doing. But his motive is still pure. He just wants it done. He wants his kingdom intact. That's all he wants. But he keeps working on all this other stuff. And he's having some tremendous success in a lot of places. But again, he doesn't talk to me. Hell, I haven't talked to him for months. Until today. That to me is success. I don't know anybody else that got fucking interest back on the money that the IRS took from them. Do you?
No, I've never heard of that.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to tell anybody who he is ever. The point is it's possible. when you're standing in the light of truth. That's it. But you're going to have to figure it out for yourself, because I don't know. I don't know what he did. I mean, other than what he tried to explain to me, but sadly, it's not really of any interest to me, because I don't have a regular job. I'm not employed by anybody. So anyway.
Ray, you got a few things ready?
Well, there are a few ideas that came up as you were speaking, Kurt. You brought up alter ego in blacks. So I said, well, what is just ego on itself? What do they have a definition for that? Which is on page 4. Here it is, 474. Actually, 462.
Got it.
462, bottom right.
Wow, it's not even highlighted. Wow, oh my God, look at that. Oh, crap. Go ahead, read it.
I, myself. Just straight to the point.
That sounds really bad. Ray, that sounds horrible.
You have such an ego, Kurt.
Read the rest of it.
This term is used in forming genealogical tables to represent the person who is the object of inquiry. Do you want me to stop or keep going?
Yeah, I just want you to stop for a second. It says this term is used in forming genealogical tables, comma, to represent the person. To represent the person. When I say represent, it means that somebody's not present. They're not present. They can't be present if it requires a representation, or they can't be available. I mean, if I want to talk to Ray, actually, if somebody else calls up and says, "Yeah, Ray said it's okay for me to sit in for him," I don't want to talk to you. I need to talk to Ray directly. Well, he's not available. Then I'll wait until he's present. I don't want to go through a middleman or some agency or whatever you guys have worked out, because this is between Ray and I. But it says genealogical tables. So all of a sudden you got to look up the word table. I'm just going to go to Webster's and see what table. I'm going to go to tables because that's what it says. By the way, this is what I did for 17 years. I looked up words and saw how they all fit together. So if you're intellectually lazy and you don't want to do this, you shouldn't be here. And I mean that. You shouldn't be here. You're wasting your own time. A table, a piece of furniture consisting of a smooth flat, a group of people assembled. A group of people assembled at or as if at a table. Look at this, a legislative or negotiating session. The term is used in forming genealogical tables, a legislative or negotiating session. Look at this, number 2A, a systematic arrangement of data, usually in rows or columns for ready reference. 2B says a condensed enumeration, a list. I'm looking for some other really fun stuff. Table 2 of 3 verbs says to remove from consideration indefinitely, to table it. To place on the agenda is to table it. To place on the agenda. The point is that when you start looking at words differently, they fit. Anyway, this term is used in forming genealogical tables to represent the person who is the object of inquiry. What is I'm going to go to Liber Code, Article 42. Article 42, Liber Code. The reason is the word object. Let me see if I could be way off on this. Object. The Avalon Project, General Orders 100. I'm going to 42. What does it say there? Article 42 says slavery, complicating and confounding the ideas of property, that is, of a thing, and of personality, that is, of humanity, exists according to municipal or local law only. So it says the ideas of property, that is, of a thing. If I go to Black's Law right now and go to the word res, R-E-S, res,
An object or a thing.
let's just, there it is, res. Page 1172. Res, the subject matter of a trust or will, in the civil law, a thing, an object. It actually says that. It says in the civil law, comma, a thing, semicolon, an object. So an object is a thing. And when you look at Article 42, it says slavery, complicating and confounding the ideas of property, that is, of a thing, and of personality, that is, of humanity. Does that sound like inextricably intertwined?
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like people are mixing shit up or confusing things on purpose so that the thing and the man are mixed up. I don't know how I got mixed into this. But so you go back to ego, it says to represent the person who is the object of inquiry. Listen, if I'm breathing life into this biology, this person, is it an object? If I'm breathing life into it. Now remember the cut material, the fetal maternal placenta left behind doesn't have the breath of God. It doesn't have God in it. It doesn't have the spirit. That's an object. That's a thing. But am I ever to be considered an object?
No.
No. Not if the mind, body, and spirit are intact. By the way, one more thing about that. Remember that when my last breath is an exhale and that spirit leaves the body, according to the law of cadavers, the owner has left. The owner of the biology has left. If there's no owner of the biology, there's no owner of the biology. If there's no breath, there's no owner. When they clamp and cut the cord and my 46 chromosome fetal biology is left behind on the placenta, as part of the placenta, is there an owner?
No.
No. So now they do whatever the hell they want with the property of that character, Curtis Richard Kallenbach, because there's no owner. The owner has left. When the spirit leaves the body, the owner is gone. So now you see it again, to represent the person who is the object of inquiry. That's an object. The biology devoid of spirit is an object. There's no owner. There's no living being. So the afterbirth becomes an object. Now, granted, they turn it into a religious relic or religious object, but it's subject to the clergy again. You're right back to the priests ruling over your kingdom because you're missing the spirit. The breath is missing. Ego, I, myself. That doesn't sound bad right there, but then it goes, this term is used in forming genealogical tables to represent the person who is the object of inquiry. Represent the person. Ray, you want to read the rest of that? The part of the conscious personality?
Can you remind me of the page? I followed you
Four-
to.
462.
I have it
Four-
open right here on my computer.
Thank
Let's
you.
read it. The part of the conscious personality which has the task of balancing the demands of the real world and maintaining harmony between the id, instinctual drives, and the superego, morality of the conscience. That portion of the total personality noticeable to others which maintains contact with the environment of the outer world.
Total personality. Total. Nothing missing. Even in Jesus' own words, they that are whole, W-H-O-L-E, need not a physician. If they don't clamp and cut the cord, the total personality. You know what the word is? Integrity. When you're whole, you have integrity. Think about that word integrity, how weird that is. I'm going to go to integrity at Webster's. Integrity. I mean, Ray, would you want to deal with people with no integrity?
No, definitely not.
Well, you're dealing with them all the time when you're using a birth certificated person. Lack of integrity. Integrity, definition, Webster's. The meaning of integrity. A firm adherence to a code of especially moral or artistic values. Incorruptibility. Incorruptibility. You can't be corrupted. By the way, if the placenta evidence is a mixture of my blood and mom's blood, or my DNA and mom's DNA, is that a corruption?
Yeah, it could be seen as an impurity.
It's impure. My 46 chromosomes are godly. They're perfect. They're pure. But look at number 2 says, an unimpaired condition. What's the word they use?
Soundness.
Right. There's the book of Sound Mind right there. Soundness. Of course, soundness, if you click on it, I'm just going to do this for a second. The quality or state of being sound, such as healthiness of body or mind. Healthiness of body or mind. If you go to health, at Etymology Online, it says whole, W-H-O-L-E. It also, look at this, soundness also says orthodoxy. Orthodox. I'm going to click on orthodox and see what it says. Orthodox. I'm clicking on orthodox now because it says the quality or state of being orthodox. Let's see what orthodox says. Conventional. A lot of it, they use the word in religion, but it says conforming to established doctrine, especially in religion. Orthodox, of, relating to, or constituting any various conservative religious or political groups such as Eastern Orthodox. By the way, I mean, when you look at Orthodox on a religious level, I always think of the Eastern Orthodox religions still use the Julian calendar, which is considered, we'll call it the calendar of God, as opposed to the Anno Domini calendar, which is the calendar of Jesus. Jesus is the separation. Remember, Jesus, they call him the Son of God, which implies two positions, even though they in the Trinity, they pretend it's all the same stuff. The reality is there's God, there's the Son of God. That sounds like two positions to me. It sounds like it. Okay, I'm getting out of Orthodox. I'm going back to the ego at 462 because this is amazing. The part of the conscious personality. Which part is the conscious part of your biology, your personality?
The I.
Right, but where is it located right now?
My head, my capital.
It's with you in the present moment.
Mm.
Right, it's the capital. But it says the part of the conscious personality. So if they clamp and cut the cord, is there any conscious personality left behind?
No, it's not
No.
conscious.
No, the consciousness is with you. If you leave the afterbirth unattended, if you leave it, if you have forsaken that afterbirth material, which is your exact same 46 chromosomes, by the way, but if you believe it to be waste material, afterbirth waste material, does that material that's cut off of you have any conscious person? Is it conscious?
No, it's not.
No. It says the part of the conscious personality which has the task of balancing the demands of the real world and maintaining harmony. Look at this, between the id, the ID. That's infancy. In Freud's world, the id, ego, and superego, the id is the infancy, which is also 1 USC 8. Between the id, instinctual drives, and the superego, which is morality of the conscience. As if there's two positions. How many of you are there, Ray?
Just one.
There's just one. I mean, if you have a bad thought enter your brain, does that mean there's two of you?
No.
You just got to get your shit together. Quit thinking that way. Pull yourself together, man. Get some integrity.
You mean there's not a devil on my left shoulder and an angel on my right?
Well, you know what? I mean, in reality, you got, the bicameral brain. You got two segments that think differently. You have, the right and left hand. You have the bridge between the two, which is what, the corpus callosum or whatever the hell it's called. But the point is that you have these two different viewpoints that have to come together. You have the mind and or the we'll call it the reason, the reasonable, and you have the heartfelt. And they have to come together. They have to work together in harmony in order for it to work out. In fact, if you look at it this way, we all have both the masculine and the feminine inside of us. I'm just using all these different versions of bipolarity, two poles. So you have the masculine and feminine. If you look at the hardcore super alpha masculine, it would be the warrior out there conquering places, conquering other countries, conquering other men to steal their shit. That's the full-blown all male mindset. Go out there and take shit. That's it. Go out there and take everybody else's shit for myself. But the pure female is completely opposite of that. She's giving everything away.
Yeah.
So everything this guy brings home, she gives away. The funny thing is if they're together, they still have nothing. Because he goes out and kills everybody to bring this shit home, and then she gives it all away. They still have nothing. There has to be a combination, a harmony between these two positions where the male aspect goes and does what it does, and the female aspect doesn't give it all away. But it's all within your kingdom. It's all within you. And you have to find that we'll call it balance or equilibrium if you prefer, but you got to find it. I mean, I know a lot. If you look at these extreme versions of the masculine and feminine, they're all fucking idiots. I mean, anybody that gives all their shit away and has nothing, well, no, they need it more than I do. No, they don't. Anyway, I'm moving the podium away.
Yeah.
I love this, by the way, and it's crazy that it's not highlighted because there's so much in it. It goes on to say between the id and the superego, like a space exists between those two positions. There is no space in me. I'm all one government, one body. And it says that portion of the total personality noticeable to others, which maintains contact with the environment of the outer world. Why did they say that? Because there's what people see, but then there's what's going on inside of you. What you let people see, what you present to the world, and what's going on inside your head. The reality is, with me, is what you see is what you get. It's that simple. You know, I prefer integrity over everything. You know, no split personality here. There is no war over a particular end, because there is no particular end. Once you get in front of the cut mentally, once you understand that you're all present and accounted for from fertilization to last breath, there's nothing left behind. There's no child left behind.
So would you say in that definition, the way they constructed that, only I and myself aligns with truth, aligns with reality. Everything after that seems to be uh confusing and twisting of the you mental gymnastics required to decipher it. What would you say? I mean, in the context of knowing what this language is, this dictionary for this language, and contrasting that first portion of ego to the rest of it.
Well, I think of I as the government, the being,
Hmm.
being, the being itself, where I recognize what I require by my nature. I do, and it may be non-local, you know, but I make it local because I'm right here in the present moment. So I'm keeping everything right here with me, and I'm using the body, the vehicle, the aircraft that I have at my disposal to get things done, and it's all mine. There is, imagine somebody getting pulled over where somebody's making a claim upon your aircraft, upon your kingdom. I mean, if you can't see it now, the question isn't, well, they can't do that, but they are doing it. If they do pull you over, there has to be a reason they think they can. And until you get that clear in your head, until you start asking the right questions, you're never going to get there. I remember when the night I got tased for allegedly not using a turn signal. Now, tasing to me, when that cop, my hands were at 10 and 2 on the steering wheel, and he shot 2 little barbs into my left shoulder and then cranked up the electricity. So he trespassed across my kingdom, across my biological, right across the membrane. It's called skin. Well, most people would say, you can't do that. This place is so corrupt. And so rather than ask how they can do it, because they can get away with it. Well, how can they get away with it? They're not getting away with anything. There's something that in my head I was missing. He can do that because the courts say he can do it. But why do the courts think they can do it? Because I'm missing something. I haven't figured it out yet. So when you start asking the right questions, like paying taxes, private property is untaxable. And my own energy is my private property. So if I go to work somewhere and I'm getting taxed, the question is, how are they doing it? If all of my shit is personal and private, how are they taxing me? Once you start asking the right questions, you start coming to the right ideas. Well, I'm not on my time. What do you mean, Kurt? I'm not on my time. You're on the Gregorian calendar, aren't you? Yeah. Well, that's a fictitious realm. If you're using the Gregorian calendar, you're not in the present. You're not even on your own time. If you're using a character born to that timeline, you're not using your energy. You're using that conduit, that birth certificated conduit, and everything you do goes through that conduit. If you're using their character to go earn your money, guess what? That's not your money. If I showed up on stage every day dressed like, I don't know, name a historical character, Hamlet. If I was on stage performing Hamlet every night, no, better yet, let's make it somebody. The point is that if I was never me, if I was earning all my money through the character of another, then the creator of that character is entitled to all my earnings. If I'm only acting, then I get paid as the actor, but I don't get paid as the owner. That's how they've set this all up. Nobody has any right or claim upon any of the property because none of it's private. It's all become public trust property, the object of the public trust. This right here says that this term is used in forming genealogical tables, comma, to represent the person who is the object of inquiry. That means the owner's not there. You got to start asking the right questions. And only then will you start seeing how to write things, how to handle things. But if you're all you're doing is complaining and saying that the place is corrupt, it's not. It's working perfectly. It's working exactly as designed. For everybody to be making claims that aren't true. Remember that a lie by omission is a lie. If you omit the first 7 days of your existence and you start at conception, that's a lie by omission. You're omitting your true origin and you're taking on the character of another, which is an alter ego, the corporate character. And what's funny is, like it says at alter ego, that the court will forget about the corporation and then go after the individual playing the character, playing or using that corporate entity for personal gain. There is no alter ego for me. All present and accounted for means that this 46 chromosome I'm using today was the exact same created the moment of creation. By the way, acts of God, we'll use that term for a second, but Ray, are acts of God insurable?
No, they're not.
No. So think about that. If I'm a product of an act of God called fertilization, this biology, this personality, is this personality insurable?
No.
No. I can't get life insurance on me. I'm getting life insurance on a character born to the Gregorian calendar. All the stuff you think you're doing for yourself, you're not. Nature is uninsurable. Cruden versus Neal says every man's independent of all laws, except those prescribed by nature. So what happens? You take on a fictitious character and you have to insure that character. That's what they got you to do. Because in reality, in nature, you're uninsurable. They're not insuring me. They're insuring their character. You're insuring, worse yet, you're insuring their character. How's that?
Inquiry is a systematic investigation, often a matter of public interest.
There it is. A matter of public interest, not private and not personal. Remember that your 46 chromosomes is personality, and it begins at fertilization. So everything in your entire life from fertilization to last breath is personal and private until you do something stupid, like everybody else we know, including me. Take on the birth certificated Gregorian calendar character and abandon reality, because that's what you've done. And you're not even on your time.
Mm-hmm.
Think about this. If you go to work and you invent something while you're clocked in, who owns the invention?
The company you're working for.
Right, because you did it on their time. What happens if you're in your garage at home and you invent something? Who owns the invention?
I would own it.
Well, unless you're always using the birth certificated character because that's on the Gregorian calendar timeline. So you're still on his time. So until you start realizing that that alter ego or that split personality is using it is to your detriment. You lose everything. You have no right to any personal and private property ever the moment you use that character. Now, it seems hopeless, but it isn't, because that character only exists because of an act of mayhem, larceny, and genocide. It only exists because of the cutting of the umbilical. How do you get in front of the cut?
By knowing, by knowing
knowledge of your origin, which is fertilization, never to be confused ever with conception, ever. Never confuse fertilization with conception. In fact, what's that, Jeremy, do you have that document, the Federalist?
Yep.
Right there, just show it. That Federalist document is a doctor's actually explaining the difference between fertilization and conception. It's not me talking about it. It's not me making a claim. That's it right there. That document right there explains the difference between fertilization and conception. One's the beginning of life, and one is implantation into the uterine wall. They are not the same thing. Hell, even in Genesis 2:2, it says God rests on the seventh day. That means the first 6 days or so are all godly. They're all within God's purview, which is why in the estates of the realm, they say the first estate is subject to clergy. The first estate is subject to clergy, which they're going to call the church. And the second estate is not. But remember that your kingdom is planted into the uterine wall. So heaven, your kingdom, your 46 chromosomes created at fertilization, is now implanted into, we'll call it Mother Earth or Mother's uterine wall. Now there's a combination. There's 92 chromosomes when it comes out as afterbirth. Well, that's neither heaven nor earth. It's some weird third party, third person born alive that was only created through conception. And that is what they're doing with the calendar. That creation where heaven comes to earth, that's the thing that is subject to the Gregorian calendar timeline, Father Time. At what moment on what calendar did the fertilization event happen, Ray?
no calendar.
No calendar. There is nobody knows the moment of creation. It's not on any calendar, which is why it's extraterritorial. It's extraterritorial. Go to the definition of extraterritorial. Did you find it?
Yeah, got it.
Extraterritorial. Look what it says. Existing or taking place outside the territorial limits of a jurisdiction. Well, the moment of fertilization, the moment of creation with your 46 chromosomes you're using today, exactly the same as that moment. That moment is extraterritorial. It's outside of all jurisdictions. It's outside of the jurisdiction of every court. So why are you in court? Because you've taken on the character of conception.
Because you're holding the stock. You're holding the certificate of stock publicly issued.
Well, it's because you're mixed. Your kingdom is mixed into your personal and private kingdom. Your personal and private monozygotic maritime monarchy now is mixed into, is inextricably intertwined with earth, the soil. On what grounds? And they're saying that's public.
Yeah.
So now your private kingdom is now mixed into public property. It's commingled into public trust. Yeah, the public trust.
When you were talking about deprivation earlier,
yeah,
I saw it as two words, de, the Latin root, and privation, because it looks like the word private. I mean, that might be a stretch, but the root, Latin root de is down, away, off, down from, the removal. So I mean, even just visually can be seen as the removal of privacy to
Well,
deprivate.
deprivation, it does say the state of being deprived, and then the next word after the colon is privation. I'm going to see
Mhm.
what privation says. It says the act or instance of depriving, deprivation, the state of being deprived, especially lack of what is needed for existence. Do you exist biologically if they have your DNA, your data on deposit?
No.
No, you can't be in two places at once. So if you're on the record, if your biology is on the record, in my case, 65 plus years ago, I can't be here now. So if I show up in a courtroom pretending to be Curtis Richard Kallenbach, who's the liar?
You are.
I am, because what they have a record of is a decedent estate. Who the hell am I? This guy's trying to steal public property, public trust property. He's trying to use public trust property for his own personal gain. That's how they see it. It's all or nothing. That's why I'm so adamant about learning all present and accounted for from fertilization last breath, because it's all or nothing. I cannot claim that minor account and still be here in the present. Because if the minor account exists, I do not. It's one or the other. The truth is all or nothing. It's either all true or not true at all. There is I'm going to do this real quick. I posted something at the Sojourner site. I'm going to send it to you. Okay.
Okay.
And then I just want to talk about it for a second because, I don't know, because I can't shut the hell up. There it is. I'm going to copy this image and I'm going to put it over here, and then you're going to put it up.
Okay.
Where are we at? Oh, yeah. I'm going to put it in side projects right now. Okay.
Okay.
There it is. Tell me when you see it.
Okay, I got it. 1 second.
I posted that today because people confuse perspective with truth or something that's true. So look at this. You got a guy and a girl looking at this thing on the ground. And the guy points at it and says 6. And the woman is pointing at it and says, G. No, I mean 9. She says 9. What's the answer?
It's both.
No, it's not. Tell me why it's not. This is the trick question, but I love it.
Well, aside from the label that you can apply to it, it just is a shape. I mean, it's a shape up on the ground. It can be labeled differently.
No, it can't.
I would say the author of whoever put that there would be the only one who would know the true meaning of it.
Nope.
Okay.
It's so ridiculously generic. The answer is so stupid simple. They're both pointing at a symbol. They're seeing it from two different perspectives. But what they're pointing at is a symbol of a quantity.
Right.
And whatever that quantity is makes it only one or the other. If the quantity is 6 items, which is a quantity, it has nothing to do with the number 6 or even the word 6. I could put 6 apples on a table and never say the word 6. But there are 6 as we know the word. So it's a quantity. It has nothing to do with perspective. If it's a quantity of 6, then the number that represents the quantity 6 is a 6. If the quantity is 9, then the symbol that represents the quantity of 9 is the 9 that we would recognize. It has nothing to do with the symbol. It's a quantity. It's a quantity. There's no argument here. And it's not perspective. You can't have a perspective on 9 things. It's just 9 things. There's no perspective. Well, it could be 6 things. No, it can't. It's either 6 things or 9 things. It's a quantity. There is no discussion here. It's not perspective. So the answer to this is, well, how many do we have? Because that's the answer. It's a quantity. And nobody thinks this way. Everybody gets caught up in the symbol. They don't get caught up in what the symbol actually represents.
Right.
So if Curtis Richard Kallenbach represents the 46 chromosomes of me and the 46 chromosomes of mom, or the 46 chromosomes of mom because it's only the accretion or the maternal part of the placenta, that has nothing to do with Curtis Richard Kallenbach. Curtis Richard Kallenbach is the symbol of something. But what does it symbolize? Biology. It symbolizes biology. It represents a moment in time and space when this biology was here. But it's the substance itself. The symbol is not the substance. The same thing with like the birth certificate is a representation of something, or the map is not the territory. If I open a map of Canada and I say, is this Canada? If somebody says yes, they are mistaken. It's a piece of paper. It's not Canada. And this is how we think. We get so lost in what we believe that we don't. I mean, look at how I love this thing here. Looking at this, because everybody I've ever asked has gotten it wrong. 100%.
That explanation really, really helps.
But look they're fighting over whether it's 6 or 9.
Right.
And there's no argument. What's
Right.
the quantity? There's your answer. If I have 9 books, the quantity is 9. It doesn't matter what you think, and it doesn't matter what it looks like. It could look like a 6. It's just upside down, or you're standing on the wrong side of it. If the quantity is 9, it's a 9, no matter what you believe. The same thing with the biology. My biology is always mine from the beginning. I don't give a shit about your symbol or your representation of it. Doesn't matter to me. Don't care. It's been mine, and it's personal and private from the beginning. So how is it mixed up? It's mixed up because most people look at a name on a birth certificate and say, yeah, that's my name. No, it's not. What was your name at fertilization, Jeremy?
There was none.
There was none, but there was something.
Mhm.
There was a single cell. There was a 46 chromosome zygote, but there was no name for it.
Right.
You see, that's what I'm talking about. When you look at this 9 or a 6, that's irrelevant to me because it's a quantity of something. The same thing with the single cell zygote. It's something that actually exists physically. It doesn't have a name. And it never will.
Mm-hmm.
By the time it comes out of mom, by the time the 46 chromosome comes out of mom, it's a multi-trillion cell entity. But the original single cell monozygotic maritime monarchy, by extension, is evidenced by your 46 chromosomes. It's the same damn thing. It's just evolved evolutionary due process over time, but it's the same 46 chromosomes. That's why this is so hard for people. I mean, my sovereignty doesn't exist in this body because the original sovereignty in its original form was one cell. When they clamped and cut the cord, they clipped my sovereignty. They cut it. They reduced it. Now I'm not a sovereign. That's not true. I'm only not a sovereign if the birth certificated character exists as a split personality.
Right.
I am a sovereign from fertilization to last breath until they clamp and cut the cord. And that's what I'm trying to get across all the time. I know it's boring for some people and it's new to some people. But I don't know how to do it. I mean, when I look at this picture, it's easy for me. But I know there are people that are still staring at it trying to figure out what I said. I know there are. What does he mean? A quantity. There is no two answers here. There's only one answer. What's funny is that answer depends on the quantity.
Right.
There's not two answers. Tell me how many of what you have. Oh, I got 6. Well, then the number 6. I could have 9, but do you? No, I have 6. Then the number 6. We don't have to argue about anything if we tell the truth.
Right.
There's no point of contention. These two people are arguing, but they're calling it perspective. There is no perspective in truth. The quantity is either 6 or 9. And that truth decides what the symbol should look like. It has nothing to do with your perspective. Well, I don't care. I don't care what you think. I should make a t-shirt. I should see if I can find somebody. Make a t-shirt of this. I'd wear it.
Are you gonna throw "fuck you" people on the back?
Yeah. Fuck you people.
Well,
But
we're
that's
hitting to. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go.
I was just gonna say we're hitting 2 hours here.
We can stop anytime because I've been just babbling. But this might be a good place to stop.
I'm usually up for 3 hours, but I'm pretty exhausted tonight.
Well, then let's just stop right now because God knows there's enough to think about.
It is a good finish too.
Well, yeah, let's just stop.
Okay. I'm okay with that. I mean, all I had was silly stories in the news, which what does that really matter?
And we can always get him next week too.
Yeah.
Let's just figure it out. But I mean, seriously, this is pretty fundamental, and we haven't done anything really fundamental since we started these Wednesdays. So this is it. This is some fundamental shit.
It's good, and it's midnight here. You get it a little easier, Ray. You're what is it? 6, 8 o'clock then?
I still have light out.
Yeah.
I don't. It's 10 o'clock here. I think this is cool as hell. I mean, I think it's cool that I'm in the middle and you guys are way over there at the extreme east and west in North America.
Right above the men fleeing the elephant.
Running different directions. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But it depends too, though. I mean, if you're talking about from whose perspective that is, I mean, if I'm the one coming towards the viewer, then you have to start thinking of what? Dexter and Sinister?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. All right, we're done.
All right, Kurt. All right, Jeremy. See you guys
Thanks for
later.
putting up, and thanks for, last night because it really just didn't work. Nothing worked up there. So
Thanks to everybody for understanding with the postponing too. We're a little lower on the viewer count tonight. I'm assuming it's probably due to that.
yeah, I fucked it up.
A lot of our people are all over the world, so they probably plan for a Wednesday, but they'll get to see the replay.
All right. Well, I'm out of here. See you guys.
Have a good night, guys.
Bye, Chris.